Things are getting deep, right? Well, you can thank all the Pisces energy and the water energy for the deepness. I mean, the depth of our mind and our emotions are going to depths we have never been before. There's a lot of energy going on in Pisces. We have this week specifically, and we're going to go through this week, but this week we're going to have that new moon in Pisces, and that's really going to bring us into the depth even more. Right now in the astrology, we got to remember, we got that north node that's in Pisces, but we have Neptune that's conjunct that north node. We have Saturn that's in Pisces. We have Mercury that's in Pisces, and then of course the sun. So there's 5 points here that are in Pisces. And really, this north node, the nodes in astrology are all about fate and destiny. They bring change. The north node deals with the future, so it brings external change, and it's future oriented. It overthrows old ways and establishes new ways to create a better ideal future. And with it being in Pisces, this is all about creating the ideal future for ourselves. Pisces deals with being idealistic, opening up to your dreams, opening up to your visions. Now, the shadow side of Pisces can be, delusion and escaping, and falling into escapism. So you got to be aware of that, specifically with that Neptune energy. And specifically this week, I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But things are changing really fast. And it's very complex. And it's forcing us to really think, right? Pisces deals with being thoughtful. Pisces gets the rap for being shy. It is shy. Pisces is a sign of shyness, but it's because it's uncertain. It needs time to really understand things, to do the deep research, to do the deep introspection, reflection, right? To find those deeper energies. You have to remember that Pisces is ruled by water, and water holds the mysteries, the secrets. So we're diving into depths and pulling back the veil of things to get all these deeper answers. And there's so much that we're about to discover this Pisces season. Things are getting deep, not only in your personal life, but in the world as well. But it's interesting because in your personal life, this is the perfect time for you to really do a lot of deep soul growth. The energy is so potent. It's so potent that my camera freezes. So I hope you stick around. But it's so potent because Pisces deals with spirituality, of course, but it's depth, right? It goes into things very deeply, contemplates things. And so if you really want to do deep inner work, this will be the time to do it. Because you can really transcend things and really go to the next level in your life if you're willing to dive deep into things. Deep in your knowledge, deep in your skills, deep in your understanding of yourself, life, and just what you want out of life. And Pisces also deals with, needing to have faith and surrender and trust and let go. So you got to have faith, you got to have trust, you need to surrender, you got to let go too, right? Because Pisces is uncertain. It's going to take its time to really dissolve things and get down to the bottom of things. And so trying to search for that certainty during these times, well, it's going to drive you mad. So you might as well just enjoy the show, enjoy the ride. Be proactive, of course, engage with life. But the things that you can't control, that's where you have to surrender and let go. That's the Pisces energy. Right? And trust that God or the divine will reveal things for you in a way in which you would have never expected. That goes beyond what you are aware of. Right? that shows up in a very graceful and in a very blissful way. And so with me saying all of that, we enter into the week with Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces, which will be February 25th. Now I want to back up really quick, because with all this Pisces energy with that North Node, things are happening very quick. The future is being shaped very quick. And I just want to say that you're more in control of your destiny than you think you are. And that the soil of fate is your free will. So as we go through the week, we have Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces, February 25th. Now this is interesting because Mercury deals with our intellect. It's how we communicate, how we process information, how we understand things, our thought process. And with it being in Pisces, it becomes very fluid, becomes more introspective, reflective, intuitive. And Mercury in Pisces gets a bad rap. Yes, it doesn't do well there, but Mercury in Pisces is very intelligent. Very intelligent. It picks up on so much information that it intuitively knows the answer. But where the debilitation is with Mercury in Pisces is the translation. Things get lost in the translation. It's like when you walk into a room and you're like, oh yeah, something's off here. Right? You just know. But then somebody's like, what do you mean? Like, logically explain it. You're like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you're just like, you pick up on all these subtle things, right? So that could be an example. So our minds are entering into very deep places. Mercury. And it could be difficult with relationships here coming up with this Venus retrograde, because Venus will retrograde this week. And Venus deals with our relationships, cooperation. Well, in order to have cooperation, you need good communication, right? Mercury's in Pisces, so things are a little bit fluid. They're a little bit blurry, miscommunications, and so it can create distortions and unnecessary dilemmas and problems. But if you're patient, Mercury in Pisces, if you're thoughtful, if you're listening, if you're able to be mindful, then things will be okay. My camera's gonna freeze a little bit, but I'm not stopping this fucking video. And that's sometimes what you have to do, right? Like you just gotta roll with the punches sometimes with things. But yeah, conjuncting Saturn. Saturn's in Pisces. Saturn is the restrictor, right? Saturn says we need a plan, we need structure, right? We need to really, Mercury's coming to Saturn, and Saturn's like, okay, Mercury, we gotta, what's going on? We need to really think things through, come up with a plan or come up with solutions here, structure things, get organized. But it's hard being in Pisces. Pisces doesn't deal with organization. It's fluid, it's abstract, it's water. But just deep contemplation, meditation, and reflection is going to be your best friend with Mercury conjunct Saturn, and not falling into the trap of being frustrated or getting frustrated or feeling disencouraged, because Saturn does bring a heaviness and a dullness. It's when, I kind of see Mercury conjunct Saturn as you got to do your chores. You're like, oh, fuck. But that's the only way you'll kind of get the money that you need to go to the movies with your friends when you're younger. So it's like having to do the work to set yourself up for what it is that you want, for what it is that you're trying to build and structure and understand. And this could be delays too with Mercury conjunct Saturn. So the best thing to do is just relax, meditate, contemplate, and let things work itself out while you're also engaged in the process. But the things that you can't control, let those things work itself out, right? But that heaviness can bring an energy of, creating self-doubt and hesitation, right? And it can also feel a little bit like emotionally cold. But the more you stay in that energy of, you got to face that self-doubt. You got to face that hesitation. You got to face those difficulties, so that way you can get the rewards from things. So don't get discouraged today. But the good thing is, on a few days after, right, or a couple days after, February 27th, Mercury in Pisces is going to sextile Uranus and Taurus. And, I love this transit. I love Mercury sextile Uranus transits. Because with Mercury being in Pisces, sextile this Uranus and Taurus, you can expect sudden insights, flashes of brilliance, genius, ideas, even exciting conversations, or stimulating new things that right now you can't predict it. You won't be able to predict it. It happens spontaneously. That's what a Mercury in Pisces or Mercury sextile Uranus is. So you may think you have an idea, but you don't. It'll just be on this day, February 27th. It'll be something out of the ordinary that you would have never thought. So I like that because it does lead to, innovational breakthroughs when it comes to communication, when it comes to understanding things, when it comes to getting these deep insights. And with it being in Pisces, you can definitely expect it to show up in a way in which is very spiritual or very intuitive or just very subtle, but bold. Right? You could stumble across new ways of communicating or connecting with others, or even improve certain aspects of your work and your life. Creativity will probably be very enhanced as well. Unexpected communication. So that's fun. Then you have this new moon in Pisces, February 27th. So this is where we enter into a new lunation cycle, and it's in Pisces. And so here we go. We are really diving deep. We're about to enter into eclipse season, right? We're about to have this lunar eclipse in Virgo. So change is all in the air, my friends. And the more fluid and adaptable you can be, like Bruce Lee said, be like water, the more enlightened you'll become. The camera's freezing. The more enlightened you'll become, and the more adaptable and the ability to be able to overcome things will be easier. But you can expect, and here's some of the things I wrote down with this new moon in Pisces. Because, of course, I like to go deep, but, I'm still trying to find my voice here doing astrology. I don't do astrology like I do tarot. So like when I do tarot, everything just fucking is easy, right? Astrology, I haven't built that, but this camera's fucking annoying. Here we go. So yeah, this is what I wrote down. So I wrote down inner awareness and intuition, right? So this new moon is going to be bringing a very deep sense of inner awareness and intuition, also wisdom and learning, because we have to remember that Pisces' other ruling planet is Jupiter, and Jupiter deals with wisdom, education, growth, growers like parents, teachers, guides, mentors, right? So you could probably discover like a new guide during this lunation cycle. But wisdom and learning, right? Pisces is about deep learning, research, diving into the depths of things, studying, or just wanting to seek wisdom, wanting to seek spiritual enlightenment. But it also can be, all this Pisces energy. The downside, of course, is uncertainty, escapism, nervousness. You got to really, because Pisces, it's inconclusive. It's not in a rush to understand anything or solve anything immediately. It needs time to really go deep and 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 become aware and become aware and become aware. And so if you're looking for just straight certainty really fast during this Pisces season, all this Pisces energy, this is where you can become very stressed out. So you got to have faith and surrender. Everything really is working out for your highest good. And for the most part, when eclipses come, pretty much things are out of your hands anyways. So, of course, you have free will, but eclipses are a little bit different. So, but yeah, so that's some of the things I wrote down. Of course, soul growth. The sun deals with our soul, our consciousness, and with it being in Pisces, the eternal wisdom waters, right? This is where, of course, we'll be gaining a deeper sense of enlightenment, right? So it's a very introspective period, and you may want more privacy, right? So you can really strengthen your inner stability, specifically because we still do have Mars in Cancer, right? So, Cancer is another water sign, and adding more to the water that's already going on astrologically, right? And so water does deal with softness, quietness, stillness. So, and then moving on to March 1st, we have Venus retrograde in Aries. This is very interesting because whenever Venus goes retrograde, you tend to become, or we tend to become more emotionally withdrawn, dissatisfied, and more self-reflective when it comes to Venus things. Venus does deal with, of course, our values, our relationships. It deals with our concepts of beauty, love, and enjoyment. And also, too, you can say Venus deals with cooperation as well. Because when it's retrograde, it's like we have to rethink these things, right? And so, yes, this could affect our relationships. This could affect our values. But it's a good time to review these things. And yeah, some things are definitely going to be frustrating. But ultimately, everything's really working out for your highest good. And it's interesting because, this Venus in Aries just in general, like Venus is a planet that deals with love, cooperation, relationship, being very receptive to beautiful things, to other people. Aries is a sign that deals with independence and self-reliance and individualism. So Aries wants to do his own thing. And so when Venus comes in, it's really us wanting to do our own things. We're not so much seeking, peace and harmony and love and enjoyment through cooperating and connecting with others, or more so, it's really through ourselves and wanting to do things for ourselves. And with it being retrograde in Aries, well, this just adds on to us wanting to really figure out like how we can redefine things ourselves that bring us enjoyment, right? That reflects our sense of self, or gives us independence, or gives us our freedom in regards to relationships. Right, so during this retrograde, you definitely expect yes, there's still this need to cooperate and connect in regards to love and relationships, of course, but also this need, though, too, for independence. And so there's going to be a bit of a clash with that stuff. And so the best thing you can do is to work on yourself. Yeah, I mean, it really is Venus and Aries retrograde. Like, work on yourself. Really prioritize what your values are when it comes to relationships, when it comes to love, when it comes to your concepts of beauty and enjoyment and your sense of self. Because that's what it is, Venus and Aries retrograde. So the more you try to seek out external things to distract you from all that stuff, it's just going to lead to this energy of more emotional withdrawal eventually, right? Wanting to emotionally withdraw and just feeling very dissatisfied. All right. Also on March 1st, we do have Mercury conjuncting the North Node, and then I put these two together. On March 2nd as well, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune. So we have Mercury conjunct the North Node and Mercury conjunct Neptune. Wow, I mean, talk about our minds and our intellect here being reoriented toward a new ideal future. And these are major transformations when it comes to how we perceive things, how we communicate, how we process information, both rationally and intuitively. And that North Node is just intensifying things, because the North Node creates extreme change, right? And extreme future changes, right? That are pulling us into this new future, right? And this is telling us to really, this is pushing us toward embracing new, more inclusive and universal ways of understanding reality. And so this is us really, our minds and our intellect being reoriented toward a higher universal way of thinking. And Pisces has a lot to do with compassion, and you can say love, right? Compassion, love, selflessness. And so that's definitely what's needed during these times to really create an ideal future for ourselves. And this challenge, there are challenges with this transit. The Neptune influence can definitely blur and distinguish, truth from illusions, right? So it can make it hard to discern things that are true and not true. So you definitely got to be very thoughtful and very mindful of what information you're taking in, or, not rushing to conclusions, because the moment you rush to conclusions, well, I guarantee that you're falling into an illusion. Because what Pisces is all about, it's inconclusiveness. It's the deepening of knowledge continuously. So it's the deepening of awareness and letting things, letting saturation. It's like deep contemplation, meditation, introspection, reflection, and going deeper and deeper and deeper and becoming more and more aware. The moment you stop and you think you have it all figured out, that's when you fall into an illusion. That's when you fall into an illusion. It's like, yes, there's going to be truth that's revealed. But even that, it's just like, okay, still be open-minded and fluid and introspective and contemplative and meditative, right? To get a deeper understanding of whatever it is. So, and this could definitely be like a lot of blurry, confusing communication at this time, so specifically with Mercury conjunct Neptune. And if you really want to go into the deep spiritual stuff, you're going to see a lot of synchronicities on this day. You will. Synchronicities will be everywhere. I mean, Neptune, Pisces energies deals with dimensions. So the subtle realms in which are outside of our conscious awareness that a lot of people don't think are real, but they are real. And that's what this North Node in Pisces is teaching all of us, is that there's definitely this huge spiritual realm that is permeating our realm at this time. And if you don't have the sensitivity to see it, well, or to feel it, this is where you got to deepen that sensitivity and tap into these energies, or just become aware of these energies. So, that it could, Mercury with that Neptune there, it could bring definitely confusion or distortions when it comes to communicating and understanding things. So it's very important to go with the flow and don't jump to conclusions, but just see what the universe is yielding to you, showing you. So, and then on March 2nd, we have Sun in Pisces square Jupiter in Gemini, and this is where we're going to be trying to make sense of all this deep energy, all this abstract, crazy energy, really. Because Jupiter's in Gemini, and Gemini is about things making sense. Right? Gemini deals with truth, right? It deals with our beliefs, deals with communication, conversation, the ability to put things together and make sense of things. That's what Gemini is, right? So you put that in you put Jupiter in there in Gemini. It's like, this is Jupiter and Gemini is like, we're all trying to expand intellectually through conversation, through our ideas. But that Sun in Pisces is like, well, the central awareness point, right now is being put on reflection, right? We need to think, we need to contemplate. There's still a lot to discover before we can have an answer, right? Gemini is like the answer that makes sense. So that square there, it's things are going to feel a bit scattered and feel unclear. It's like you want that growth and that expansion, right? That square to Jupiter, it's like you really want that growth and expansion. It's like you want to find that deep truth. You want to find, that idea that sticks and that you can move forward with, that's going to open up new doors for you, or that's going to enhance your life or bring more positivity or bring more growth. But the struggle is we're still searching for it. Because Pisces is careful introspection and Gemini is fast information. Right? So there's the clash, right? So it's like, hold on, what? So, and some of the ways in which this could actually manifest is you could probably be seeing a lot of people overconfident in their ideas, possibly even delusional. So acting as if they know everything, but really, when you really look at it, it's like there's no depth to what they're saying. There's, because what it is that Pisces is the deep research and the broad understanding of things and the deep understanding of things, right? So when you talk and you speak Gemini, you got the deep truth. What you're saying is real. But if that's missing, then, it's not rooted in anything deep, right? So you may see a lot of overconfident energy. Be aware of being too overconfident as well. It's like, yes, I mean, if you got the depth and you got the certainty of things, of course, speak your truth and advance forward with your ideas. But, I would definitely be cautious though. So that's one thing that I see here. And I mean, you could also be feeling very scattered or overwhelmed here. It's like too much information, like your mind's trying to process too much information and trying to come to a conclusion, but things are still unclear, right? So it's kind of, in a way, Sun square Jupiter. I always look at it as like bad luck, right? But Jupiter is a planet that doesn't really give bad luck because it's a planet that just deals with positivity. Saturn's more of the bad luck. And so, but just wanting the positivity, wanting the good luck, like trying to force that's when you can have issues, right? Wanting the growth, wanting to expand, wanting to amplify things, wanting to go and get more and have more, right? But the square, it's like, hold on, like we gotta, like we can't force it. So, yeah. So that's what I got here, and, I think, yeah, definitely a very interesting week. And, I mean, things are getting things are getting very deep, and everybody is riding rough seas. But this is where also too that, I don't know, this is definitely a very adventurous energy, a very adventurous time, and you might as well just enjoy the show and enjoy the ride, but really take control of your fate and your destiny at the same time. So that's what I got, and I appreciate you for watching. I'm wishing you the best. And I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Wishing you a great week, and I will see you later.